On this episode, I'd like to go over oysters. My grandfather once famously said, "I like my oysters fried, that way I know they died." I kind of held to that philosophy firmly for like most of my life. Having grown up in Texas, it's not really a thing in the middle of the country for a very good reason. Anyway, I gave it a shot when I moved to the East Coast at a restaurant in Manhattan, and I very quickly realized something was wrong. Ate it, got very sick. I started throwing up, and the cabbie wouldn't pick me up. Pretended like there was something wrong with the cab. I kicked it, and he sped away. It was like 10 degrees outside. Anyway, I kind of held it in for the next cabbie that picked me up. And I lived on the Jersey side, so I had to go through the Lincoln Tunnel. And I kept just having to stick my head out and puke. So I gave oysters a rest for about another few years. And then once I picked it back up again, I found that if you paired it with wine, hoping to kill any sort of parasite that might be hanging out, I figured I was kind of safe. So my husband kind of thought it was insane. So he kind of pushed the oyster narrative. Now I love them. And I've made it a study which ones I love. Tend to be the smaller ones. Ninegret, if you're asking, but I know you're not. Who cares? I think those are my favorite. But today we also tried oysters in DC. So I'll loop in all the scenes from Newport with the expert that's there. And then we'll go circle back to some of the experiences we have with oysters here in Washington, DC. And with my friends in New Jersey, kind of rounding it out. We won't be talking with Blue on this one because I'm not fucking shucking oysters at my house and feeding them to my dog. I feel like that's a terrible idea. And also it's really hard. Have you ever shucked oysters? I can't even imagine. Who's the first guy who ate an oyster or even tried it out and said, look, there's this little rock-like thing and I'm gonna bust it open, see what's in there. Oh look, it's this little object and it looks like snot and it has the same consistency. I'll eat it. I mean, that guy had to be freaking desperate. That's my last thoughts on that. Anyway, give oysters a shot if you haven't. They're delicious. I highly recommend them, especially with the right pairing. And you'll see what that is. I just successfully crossed over into Dupont Circle. Now, in the middle is a beautiful park with a fountain. Trying to get around it is some sort of a hellscape. I mean, listen, I've been in roundabouts all over the world. I took a giant minivan around Palermo, which if you've ever been there are in fact lines, but they're merely a suggestion. You've got people on little Vespas with tiny children that are like 3 or 4 holding on for dear life. Now, Dupont Circle though, there's an outside, kind of an inside, and nobody seems to know what they're doing, which is, I think, a big part of the problem. And so I was stuck here, like once driving around it for days and days until there was a traffic accident. And then I was finally able to exit because somebody had stopped before I needed to get across. Thomas Jefferson, it was rumored, actually got stuck in Dupont Circle and decided, you know what, forget it. We're not having traffic circles and roundabouts in America anymore. And he invented the traffic light. And that's why we don't really have roundabouts in America and just traffic lights. True story.
The oyster are like pretty much then you feel the salinity and the minerality of the sea. That I grew up in an island, so that's for me bring me back to that. I don't like a lot when they are too salty. I like when they're more sweet.
Ooh, I like salty.
But more mild salt, not
Okay.
super salty. And I like when they have the sweet finish.
What wine would you pair with oysters?
Well, obviously Riesling, Pinot Bianco, and Champagne. For me, is the go-to.
Obviously.
But also this one that we are drinking today is.
What are we drinking today?
Caricante from Sicily.
Love Caricante.
Me too.
How can you not?
Wine.
Your turn.
What I like about wine, I like the convivial moment. First of all, to always have people together, gathered on the table, and also the history that's behind each wine.
That's the correct answer, by the way.
Thank you.
Oh, it was a
I
price?
really, I think that's the main, the history and the tradition making to generations and generations that they share in front of a table in front of a meal, and then also having that the wine can really bring you to a journey, right? So you can start your meal with an appetizer. You can start from let's say Italy or France, one of my favorite wines, and you can start from north to south and see how the grapes really change uh, in your palate, and how from the beginning till the end, your mouth just start to craving different foods. So you start making that pairing with each other. So that's what I like about wine. Yeah.
Well, what wine would you suggest with oysters?
Great question. Oysters, I'm also a big fan of champagne. I highly recommend to go through a well-balanced champagne, or even though I'm a big fan of most likely Pinot Noir champagne, very brioche, very note of more of a deeper flavor on the champagne, but a very elegant bubble, nothing too aggressive, because you still want to feel the oyster, you still want to feel the ocean in your mouth. But other than that, maybe I like Sauvignon Blanc a lot, so maybe South of France. Even though with a beautiful, talking about South of France now, I want to change my answer actually with a beautiful rosé from Provence.
No, too late. Can't
Too
change
late.
it.
Well, I think Provence, good rosé from Provence. That's my answer. I would go with something like that.
What do you think, guys?
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time
Cheers.
today. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Salute.
Yeah.
We then went to Oceanos restaurant in New Jersey, where we met with Nick, the owner, and also Gary Hill of Frederick Wildman.
Welcome to Oceanos. So we have great oysters, we have fish from the Mediterranean, we have great scallops here from local from our New Jersey. And what goes great with all this stuff is really good wine. And I know you know good wine. So over here we have 835 selections of wine. And I'm going to talk about a couple that are exceptional with what we're serving here. So I like to begin the evening with a glass of champagne and some great fresh shucked oysters. And we have 135 different champagnes at Oceanos to select. Anyone you pick is delicious. So champagne is my favorite category here at Oceanos. There's a great champagne that, nice vintage, the 2012 Paul Roger. Paul Roger makes a delicious champagne. They make it in brut and have some extra brut. And to have it with a nice fresh shucked oyster, specifically Kumamoto or Spinney Creek, is right up your alley to start your night off over here. We get to see wonderful people every night. It's like we're going out every single night. So it's a wonderful time we have here to take care of our guests and show our obsessive hospitality, and just fill them up with what's missing in their life. And that's a lot of love from us. Thank you so much, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
All right, hi. We're sitting here with Gary Hill. He's with our distributor from Frederick Wildman here in New Jersey. So clams and oysters. What wine would you pair with clams and oysters?
For right now, I mean, it's a gorgeous spring day. I'm thinking about summer. I'm thinking about Italian whites. Vermentino from Sardinia, Pigatto from Liguria, Gavi from Piemonte, Pecorino from Abruzzo. Well, I mean, if I'm going to find all of them, Marchesi di Barolo Gavi. Easy,
All right,
crisp.
excellent. Hey, so I'm riding in the Hamptons on a nice cloudy day with John Rooney from Frederick Wildman. John's been in the business for quite a while, and he's a consummate professional. And
I got into the wine business. I got bit by the wine bug 20 some odd years ago, where I was a bartender at a high-end catering hall, and the father of the bride had an extensive wine cellar. He was a collector. And so instead of us pouring our normal house pour of wine, he brought a couple cases of wine from his cellar. And that's what we poured for the guest. And it was a bunch of different wines. And of course, we, as the bar staff, we tried through them. And I liked wine, but I didn't really know deeply about it then. But as we tried through a number of the wines, two of them absolutely floored me. And I needed to know everything about them. I teach myself as much as I could. I got the Windows on the World wine course by Kevin Zrally. I had tried a 1978 Chateau Lafite Rothschild.
ooh, way to jump in.
Yeah, it was a good jumping point. And a Chateau Le Pen from Pomerol. And so that was my introduction to some of the finest wines of the world. I started much with like wine coolers and whatever tasted good, probably just like everybody else. But I was in the restaurant industry, so I had an early introduction to wine, and I knew that I liked it, but I didn't really get it until I got to try something that was another level, and the kind of wine that really takes you to the place it's made. And that was still to this day why I find wine so, so captivating.
What would you say the top wines or varietals would be to pair with oysters?
Oh, well, I would say definitely champagne, for sure. Chablis, if you can afford it. But I love Muscadet. Muscadet is like poor man oyster juice, and that is something that always pairs great with it. High in minerality, and just a delicious, very affordable, mineralistic white wine that pairs fantastic with oysters.
So I'm with Olivia from Martinetti. She's a sales
Hi.
representative in Connecticut with Martinetti. So Olivia, what do you
Yes.
love about wine? And then tell me what your favorite oyster wine pairing would be, since we're in Connecticut.
Okay. Well, first, what I love about wine is I used to be a teacher before I got into the liquor industry for 4 years. And I love that you can never know everything about wine, and there's constantly more to learn and more to try. And you're never going to be the know-it-all, and you just keep working and working towards it. And I just think it's awesome. So you picked the right person. So I actually was in Nantucket for 3 summers, and I worked at an oyster bar there, and I absolutely love oysters. Anytime I can get them, I can get them. We have local here, a couple towns over in Norwalk, we have Cops Island oysters, which are fantastic. And my favorite oyster is a Beau Soleil oyster. I like things with cold water, salinity, nice and crisp. And I like to kind of juxtapose them. Instead of going for a nice crisp Sauvignon Blanc, I actually go for a Gewürztraminer that's a little sweeter.
Next, we head to Newport, Rhode Island, where we stopped off at Midtown Oyster Bar and spoke with Harry Graham, an expert in oysters for over 13 years.
Thank you.
So the 2 passes you get for not eating oysters, you got sick on it. Can't argue with that one. Texture. If you can't get past the texture, I can't force an oyster on you. But for the most part, try the oyster, give it 3 bites. If you don't like it, try it again 3 more times. Because first time it's new, second time you're not sure, third time it's a given. Come back and try it again in 7 years.
Well, think about the first guy who ever decided I'm going to try an oyster.
Let's not think about the first guy that cracked open this rock.
He was
And
starving.
saw something inside the rock and said, "I'm going to eat that. It looks edible."
That little
No,
booger, that little gross little booger.
I do believe in Africa they found a cave with several 100,000 oyster shells emitted from like 20,000 years ago or something wild
God.
like that. But that's something.
They were Neanderthals. They didn't give a shit.
No, they would just eat whatever they want.
Now, okay, so in terms of, you also said that some people don't eat them because they don't like how they look.
Yeah, they have trouble looking at them, but they don't look right. They look like the texture looks off to them, or the fact that there's still the liquor in them. They don't like the fact that there's still water around the oyster, and they think it's weird.
I'm Maggie. I'm here at Midtown Oyster Bar. I'm personally a white wine drinker myself, so my personal favorite pairing would be our house oyster, the 401. It's a little bit sweeter, smaller, and I think a really good white wine to go with that would be, I would say, the Albarino, just because the citrusy notes kind of balance out the sweetness. But I also really like our Muscadet, which is like a really good go-to oyster pairing wine to go with our rough waters, because that just like balances out the salinity a little bit. But those are my personal favorites, I'd say.
Okay, so here we are at Midtown Oyster Bar in famous Newport, Rhode Island. One of my favorite places to go whenever I come into town. So we've got a selection of different oysters that we're going to be trying with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, we got to edit the shit out of this. That's way too many wines. All right, starting from, let's go left to right. Oh, that's good. That crisp acidity. Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm going to be hammered after this. Okay, that's a Sancerre. That's Sancerre and the oysters with that saltiness and the acidity.
Goes well.
Yeah, that's really good. Next up is the Italian wine with my Italian compadre here.
Pinot Grigio should go well with the acidity.
Yeah, Pinot Grigio is really good. Again, I'm liking these kind of the high acid, that brininess. Pinot Grigio Sancerre Albarino.
I think the Mostra Day will be perfect.
I think this is the fastest that I've ever consumed oysters in my entire life. I'm gonna have to order like another 2 dozen. Okay, yeah, that's a good call. The muscadet on that, the flavor profile. All right, so this is the white Burgundy. That's a Chardonnay. Actually, which oyster did you just give me? Is that the Portsmouth?
I think so.
It's kind of a fattier flavor texture.
Portsmouth, yep.
So oddly and actually coincidentally, the Burgundy, the white Burgundy, the Chardonnays get a little bit more body. So that kind of, we did it on purpose. All right, we got another Chardonnay here. So that's the Sonoma County Chardonnay.
Agreed.
I think the Burgundy I like a little bit better.
Why?
It had a little bit more acidity. I think that's what stood out there. None of these are. I'm not commenting. None of these are bad, by the way. And then the Louis Jodome Contelage. Yeah, these all actually work really very well. I would say that I think I liked the Sancerre, the Albarino, and the Pinot Grigio the best, and the Muscadet. Those are the ones those all stood out to me. What are your thoughts?
I think the Mostra Day and the Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah. All right, he's spoken.
These are Damascus oysters. As you can see, you have a flat edge and a curvy edge. The flat edge is where you actually want to start. So when the oyster comes to a point on the flat side is where you lean it and you grab a special oyster shucking tool and you put it at the base of the V with a little bit of force. Don't be afraid to get in there.
But don't cut off your hand.
But don't slice a finger, yes.
Is that why you're wearing a glove?
Yes. And if it doesn't go in, then what you do is you grab a little bit of a sharp steak knife with a real sharp point, and you go there, and all you do is create a hole. Once you create the hole, you go in with the tool.
Get in your hole.
And you twist. And it comes right off.
You don't remember that?
And then as you get in, you twist the knife around so you remove it from the top shell. And it's there. And then in the top shell, you just give yourself a little bit of a slice so it's nice and loose. And you put it on a plate of ice.
So many innuendos and jokes in that entire segment
So,
right there.
one more time.
You're just going to ignore that?
From the wise ass. Again, curvy end, flat end.
You like them curvy, don't you?
Yes, I do. As you see it, like I said, you get to the V. At the bottom of the V is where you insert the special tool. Don't be afraid to use force. Unfortunately, I'm old and it doesn't work as well for me.
If you're old, I'm old.
But you put it in with a little wiggle and it pops. Once it pops, you see it. You start seeing the top of the shell move. You insert the knife underneath to loosen. Top of the shell pops right off.
Nice. Well done. Hey, Pumpkin. You're a good boy. You want a treat? It's good. So first things first, when you open up a sparkling bottle of wine, you want to keep your hand on here because you could literally punch your eye out with this at the force that this is kept under. So put your thumb here. It has been done? Did you shoot somebody's eye out?
Nope, but I've heard of people having it done.
True. Now, you want to kind of twist the bottle a little bit, but hold the cork at the same time. And you don't want a loud pop. You want kind of like that fart sound when you're trying to hold it in at the office. That was a little loud. I don't think I've ever done that. Maybe in my sleep?
There's a couple favorites.
Yeah, what do you like?
The Pierpont Suave is fantastic. Goes great with oysters. And the rosé, for being a light rosé as it is, it's not bad with oysters.
Suave.
Suave.
Rico. Suave. Oh, you didn't do any lemon.
I don't squeeze them all. I squeeze individually. You should know that by now.
You like to squeeze them individually?
Yes.
Dirty.
By the way, that outfit doesn't match.
It doesn't match? I mean, it's Saturday.
Doesn't match.
All right, Your Majesty. Ooh, I like the gruette. Did you know it's made in New Mexico?
I did.
Did you know New Mexico makes wine?
I did. Gruette.
You know everything.
So what do you like?
I mean, they're both winners so far. Just FYI, the Muscadet was off, unfortunately. The one that we had in the restaurant was fantastic, but it was just a bad bottle. That happens. Oh, I like the rosé a lot. I don't know. So far, they're all really good. I'm a little pale.
Little is not the word.
We can't all be blessed with Mediterranean skin. I come from a very
So what do you like?
German type background.
I know.
My legs right now, I think you could probably land a plane.
You could.
They're so white.
Mhm.
And I haven't shaved in a while. You could probably braid my leg hairs.
Move on to the wines.
Sexy, huh? Okay. You know what? I really like them all. The rosé for me was like, oh yes, that was a great pairing, and I really like the Suave. The Chardonnay was kind of like with some of the fatter ones, a little bit more on like the matchy side of things. I think the rosé was like kind of like a contrasty thing going on there. This was great because I felt like the
What's
bubbles. The gruette. I don't know. I think I'm drunk at this point. I'm not really sure anymore. Yeah, it's bubbling, so that's got to be it. The gruette. I feel like that one. That had a little bit of like a cleansing feature with the bubbles. I really liked that. I'm gonna go back to the Suave again because now I don't. I started with that. I like that. I like the Suave. We had the Pinot Grigio when we were at Newport Oyster. That worked really well. I like the Pinot Grigio, but I kind of called an audible. I thought maybe try a Suave.
Which Pinot Grigio do we have?
We had the Santa Margarita, remember? Yeah, that worked. Yeah, these all worked. I think these were great. So some of these were suggestions, and two of them we had at the restaurant, so I thought I'd try them again. It's too bad the Muscadet was corked because that would have that was one of my favorites at the restaurant. I don't know if you remember. Albarino, that would have worked out nicely as well. So I think it's good. Should we give him an oyster?
Only if they're cooked.
I don't know if he's distinguished enough for that.
You can't give them raw oysters.
Sorry, buddy. Maybe something else. Okay, that was Stick It Up Your Glass
Oyster Edition. If you like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.